you add up the municipal charges and fees and taxes, the provincial charges, fees and taxes, and federal charges, fees and taxes, do you know what the average cost of that is across Canada on the average home?
I don't know that I have. I don't know of a number of that. Nadine, do you know if we have a?
If you're talking about more of the planning fees to get to the construction of housing, it's approximately.
What I said was you add up the total cost of government charges and fees at the local, provincial, and federal level. Do you know what the average across the country is, the cost per each home, percentage?
So Mr. Chair, thank you for the question. We can certainly return with a precise number, but
it's okay. It's about 30%.
That's what I was going to say.
The average is about 30% across the country. I would think you would have that. In Ontario, we just saw reports about 36%. So, are you aware that that's the biggest chunk of the cost of homes in the country? 30 to 36%.
Sounds about right. 30% sounds about right. Yes.
Would you agree then that we need to reduce the cost of government in the process of getting homes built?
Anything we can do to reduce the cost of housing is important.
And so if government is the biggest chunk of that cost, it makes sense that we should try to reduce the cost of government.
I think anything we can do to reduce the cost of housing is important.
At the federal government's direction, your organization, through the Housing Accelerator Fund, gave about $471 million to the City of Toronto. The first quarter of that has gone out, I take it. And right after they finished signing that deal, they increased development charges by about 42%, which is a pretty significant cost on a home in Toronto. That means the development charge went from $117,000 in May 2004 up to $137,000 by June 2024. Do you think that that's going to be an impediment to housing starts in Toronto?
Development charges are definitely an impediment to housing starts, yes.
Are you aware that housing starts in Toronto are down by about 40% this year, since last year?
I believe that, yes.
The City of Vancouver got a $115 million approval on the Housing Accelerator Fund through your agency. Housing starts there down 15%. Are you aware of that as well?
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Ottawa, 176.3 million housing starts are down about 22%. So I'm wondering how much you think maybe cost of government at the local level. You got a federal government giving money to cities that are actually then turning around and making it more expensive to build. If there's something we could be doing at the federal level, instead of just giving more money to cities, if there's something we could be doing at the federal level to help reduce the cost of homes.
Well, that's a big question. Let me address the housing affordability, the housing affordability fund first, if I may. The intention of the money that's being given through the HAF is to provide for systemic change in the municipalities. It's to speed up zoning, to speed up execution, to speed up application turnaround, some other things that will make it faster for execution.
Can I ask you about that then? Mm-hmm. The crisis is today, and so I wonder if that's you think that's the most prudent investment of tax dollars in trying to fix long-term problems without any real tangible evidence that that's occurring. I mean, you look at what's going on in Toronto, it looks like that's not working, and it's a lot of money.
It is early, I think, to see housing units result from that. So
you can appreciate, though, it's early to see the results. That, like, your language is I struggle with it because the crisis is now.
Right. I hear what you're saying. I think there are other programs that are targeted to sooner. But for that program, I think the results it's early to see housing units as a result to have seen starts increase already. It's early. I apologize, we don't have the reporting from the cities yet to have the attribution of the results, but that just because the program is relatively new in its implementation, so we don't have those results yet. But it is intended to speed it up, but it'll be early to actually see that turn into construction started.
Can you tell me how much money the CMHC made on its insurance products last year? Roughly?
Yes.
Yeah, commercial. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the question. It's roughly $1 billion a year that we make out of our commercial products.
So I just worked it out. I used to be in real estate, so I had a residential closing cost worksheet that I would always work out. So on the purchase price of a home in Ontario at $750,000, and a first-time home buyer who had to could only put 5% down, which is $37,500. Their CMHC fee, I calculate, would be about $8,371, which would go on to their mortgage, generally speaking. Do you think it makes sense for the CMHC to be generating that much profit in the middle of a housing crisis on first-time homebuyers?
It's, we are an insurance company, and we have a legislated mandate to operate as a commercial mortgage insurance company. We have 2 private sector competitors, and the intention is to operate on a level playing field with them.
Okay. I appreciate you don't really want to answer that question.